This is not the end.
Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast, the official podcast of filmpulse.net. This is episode number 120. My name is Adam. With me today we have Kevin. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing okay.
Doing okay? I'm doing okay too.
That sounds fucking great.
Today we'll be getting Film Pulse contributor Ernie Trinidad back on the show for a review of Edge of Tomorrow. Then we'll be reviewing Bobcat Goldthwait's latest Willow Creek. And finally, we'll be going over this week's movie predictions, new on video on demand, and DVD and Blu-ray releases. First up, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I think I'll kick it off this week. I started the week with some John Carpenter.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I am a huge John Carpenter fan. Love most of his movies. The newer ones, not so much, but like They Live and The Thing, I just love them. Love them up.
I love them.
And it shames me to say that I have never seen the other two parts in his Apocalypse trilogy. So the Apocalypse trilogy is The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. Now, as it turns out, I did see In the Mouth of Madness, but I completely forgot about it. It was one of those watches.
Oh, nice. Wait, was it like 20 minutes in? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember this now.
It was probably within the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I do remember all this. But I don't know if I ever finished it. It might have been one of those kind of like late night Netflix watches where I just fell asleep.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really remember the end. But at any rate, I watched Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. Loved both of them. They're both highly recommended and probably two of the best. If I was still working on my top 100 horror movies, they would probably both go on the list.
Oh, you stopped working on that?
Yeah, I kind
So
of.
what? Oh, come on.
I
I think I've only seen one Carpenter. No, two Carpenters. Okay. I've seen two Carpenters.
That's it?
I do want to see In the Mouth of Madness, though.
It's excellent. Out of the two, In the Mouth of Madness was my favorite of the two, but I liked Prince of Darkness quite a bit too. That's kind of one of his more underrated movies, I think. But In the Mouth of Madness, it's sort of like a mix between a Stephen King story and an H.P. Lovecraft story. There's very, very strong influences of both of those authors in this movie. I mean, like, when you see it, you're just like, oh my god. It's so obvious that this is like King and Lovecraft. And I'm actually a big fan of both King and Lovecraft, which I never really even kind of delved into the whole Lovecraft thing until maybe a year or two ago. And then I started realizing, like, I fucking love this guy. Like, I never read any of the books or anything.
You're a huge fan, didn't even know.
Yeah, but all of the movies and stuff that have Lovecraftian influence, I end up loving. So I'm a big fan of that. I also have a board game called Mansions of Madness that takes place in the Lovecraft universe, which is a really fun board game.
Huh. There's a Lovecraft board game.
Yeah, there's several that take place in
What would they
that
come
universe.
up with next? That's crazy. I'm looking at Prince of Darkness here, and I scroll down to the quotes on IMDb, and the first line just says, Wyndham is being consumed by beetles. And I immediately said, yes, I'm in. Mm-hmm. I just nodded my head in agreement.
There's some good effects work in both movies. There's some shitty effects work mostly in The Mouth of Madness. There's like this there's some digital effects in there that don't look, they look aged, but it's both of them are still really satisfying. I liked In the Mouth of Madness more, like I said, but with that one, it's kind of like Sam Neill plays an insurance investigator who kind of looks into cases of fraud and things like that, and he is hired to track down this famous horror writer named Sutter Kane, and he ends up basically finding out that he is a character in the latest Sutter Kane novel.
Oh, man.
And he realizes that everything that's being written is happening to him in real life. And it's kind of like this just crazy mindfuck of a movie. Super fun. In the Mouth of Madness is also scarier than Prince of Darkness. There's a lot more jump scares and really, really creepy stuff that happens in the Mouth of Madness. And it's just weirder too. In Prince of Darkness, there is the beetle thing where people get possessed by this like green liquid, and it kind of makes them like pawns of this evil entity that is trapped in this tube, and for some reason some of them turn into beetle people. Yeah, they're people that are like their insides are all made of beetles. And Alice Cooper's in it, and he plays a bum, and he kills people. It's ridiculous.
This sounds insane.
Yeah, both of them are pretty amazing. Out of the three, I still like The Thing by far the most out of all three of them, but they're all really good, and I highly recommend all of them. Like now, as far as like on the Carpenter scale, I wouldn't say that any of them are going to top like They Live or Halloween or Big Trouble in Little China or Escape from New York, but they're still up there.
Okay.
You never saw, which was the one Carpenter that you saw?
I've seen two Carpenters.
Oh, two.
I'm sorry. Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China.
You never saw the original Halloween? Or You never saw The Thing?
No, I never saw The Thing.
Oh my god. It's like it's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Never saw it.
You gotta oh my god.
I guess I gotta see that one.
You never saw Memoirs of an Invisible Man? With Chevy Chase?
Nope. I didn't see that one either. I didn't see Starman either.
I never saw Starman.
I'm intrigued by Starman because the cover looks amazing.
I saw parts of Starman, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing. I saw almost everything of Carpenter. Either way, I highly recommend checking out both In the Mouth of Madness and Prince of Darkness.
It looks like I got some Carpenters that I need to watch.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely one of my favorite horror directors. I just love his style. Wait, you never saw They Live either?
No.
Oh my god.
Maybe. No. I love
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
I just love when I'm like, I didn't watch that, and you just go, oh my god.
Well, I'm so, more than anything, it's excitement. It's excitement because when you tell me you never saw They Live, I'm so excited for you because you get to experience They Live for the first time. And that's something that I'll never get to experience again.
The only thing I know about They Live is the cover, the Cage album cover. That's all I know.
It's an amazing movie. It is so, so amazing. Rowdy Piper, and there's one of the longest fight scenes you will ever see in a movie in that movie.
Oh man.
But you'll see in They Live, there's like a ton of things in that movie that have like kind of become ingrained in our culture. Like, you know, like the whole obey thing, like the Shepherd Fairy, that's from They Live. All those quotes from like Duke Nukem and stuff they pulled from They Live.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty much like I have seen it.
When you see it, you'll be like, oh, okay. So that's where that comes from.
Everything will make sense.
Everything in the universe will make sense when you see They Live.
This synopsis is maybe one of the best synopses I've ever read in my life. Drifter discovers a pair of sunglasses that allow him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm in.
There's also another, I can't remember what song it is. It's a hip hop song, and they do use a sample from They Live where it's like the guy's like, we all sell out every day, might as well join the winning team. Do you remember that? I think it might be from a Jedi Mind Trick song or something.
Might be. Sounds like something they would be into.
It's like, you want a piece of the good life too. I know you want it. Hell, everybody does. Or something like that.
Instead of watching They Live, can I just hear like a radio version where you play all the parts?
That's actually kind of a funny idea for like a bonus episode of the podcast where we do a round table. You know how a
live read of
how they do those live reads at Film Independent. We can do a live read and have Ryan be involved.
Ryan plays Roddy Piper.
Oh my god, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna do a live read of They Live, and Ryan is gonna be Roddy Piper.
The only people interested are me, you, and Ryan.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine. I don't
Fuck
care.
it. Doing it anyways.
I don't care. All right, what do you got?
Oh my goodness. I watched Three Monkeys from 2008. This is Nuri Ceylan's this is the film he made before Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, which I think that's the only Ceylan movie you've seen, correct? So this is the one he made before that. Sort of follows, well, the Ceylan movies are tough to describe because number one, there's not really any dialogue to speak of. It's all visual, really, and it's mostly just about unspoken emotions. So it's very slow. Like I said, there's little to no dialogue at all. And essentially, it examines communication breakdowns between husband and wife, mother and son, father and son, just all these things that they won't discuss or, won't sort of bring up to one each other and talk about it openly and honestly, and just how much it affects them and how much it makes them suffer. And it's very interesting in the way that to sort of mirror that breakdown in communication, Ceylan actually leaves out bits and pieces of the story itself. Like he throws in there's visions where they see the son. They had a young son that must have died somehow because you see him as like a ghost, but there's no context. There's no background to why you're seeing this kid ghost that's sort of haunting their everyday lives. And it's, him mirroring that breakdown of communication between the characters and he breaks down communication between the audience and the film that he's showing you. And it's just wonderful the way he does everything. And then much like Anatolia and every other movie that he's made, it's unbelievably gorgeous. The cinematography is just amazing.
Oh,
I mean, this guy in Light is just unbelievable.
I'm looking at the on Letterboxd his lineup here, and every cover looks the exact same
Yeah.
to me.
Yep. They do all have
What
sort of the same color palette.
it looks like a series of books that you would buy like in an airport. James Patterson's Uzak. James Patterson's Climates. Or probably more appropriately like Danielle Steele's Three Monkeys. It's like
Those are all good movies, by the way. I've seen all of the ones
people
that
looking longingly down the road.
There is a lot of longing, a lot of looking, peering into one's own soul,
Yeah.
that type of deal. So it's a little rough to get through if you're not a fan of this. If you liked it Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, then hell yeah, check it out.
Well,
If you couldn't get through that, then no, don't.
Well, I liked Once Upon a Time in Anatolia, but I think one of the things that kept me interested in that was the kind of the murder mystery, the crime aspect of it.
This more involves adultery. There is
Yeah.
a crime at the beginning where a driver for a politician, the politician runs over someone at the very beginning of the movie. He goes to the driver and, has him take the fall for it because there's an election coming up. So he serves the jail time and he gets like a nice, full payment once he gets out.
Now, I am interested in his new one, Winter Sleep.
Yeah, I'm pretty much interested in anything he does ever. Ever.
There you have it, Three Monkeys. Check it out.
Do it.
I saw Tim's Vermeer, which comes out on DVD and Blu-ray this week.
I always figured you for a big Vermeer fan.
What? Oh my
Right?
god.
You're a huge Vermeer fan, right?
Oh my god.
No?
No. I mean,
Oh, okay.
but it's just such a funny, like, why would I be a huge Vermeer fan? Oh god.
That's
I mean,
why.
if you said like, oh, I think that you would be like, I don't know, a big Norman Rockwell fan, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. Like I can get.
Kind of the Dutch version.
Vermeer, I'm just like, Honestly, like I only knew of like maybe 4 or 5 Vermeer pieces. Like I'm not very steeped into the art world like you are, so I don't know a lot about different artists and things.
Yeah.
I like art, and I'm interested in art and artists and what they do, but I'm just not well versed in it. So it was really interesting. This documentary. So basically, this inventor named Tim Jennison sets out to recreate a Vermeer. And for people that aren't familiar with Vermeer, it was basically the paintings looked photorealistic. They could have been photographs, back then. And there's a lot of speculation as to how Vermeer painted these, because it just seems impossible that he would be able to paint things so detailed and so accurately and have it be like a free form thing, because they would run x-rays on Vermeer's paintings and find that there were no sketches underneath the paint. So he just did it. He just fucking did it. And
freestyled that shit.
And Tim, what he sets out to do is figure out how Vermeer did this and then do one himself. And it is so fascinating. I mean, I was just glued to the screen the whole time, because this is a perfect film that kind of blends the concepts of technology and art. And those are two things that are like kind of people like to separate those two things out. And I don't know why that is, but I'm a strong believer in both things. Like I love technology and I love art, and I think that it's really cool when you bring those two things together. And that's exactly what this guy does. He figures out that through optics, like a lot of people surmise that Vermeer did these paintings through optics, like using a camera obscura. But when he tried to do that himself, he found that because of how the light was projected onto the wall, that it would be impossible to accurately get the same colors that were in real life. So he figured out that by setting up a mirror, you can reflect the image down, like so that it sits right above the canvas. And all you have to do is put the same colors that are on the edge of the mirror. And by doing that, you can essentially recreate anything, not just a Vermeer, but you can do like photographs, whatever, and you can create them to be like 100% perfect every time. And it's interesting because this guy's not a painter. He's not an artist.
No, you're just essentially copying what you're seeing.
Exactly.
You just match the
You just
hue.
match the color. Yep.
Yeah.
So
just
it's like
fill in that spot.
And after he kind of devised this method, he had other people who were also not artists give it a try and see what the results were. And it was like perfect every time. So it was really interesting. And then the painstaking process that he went through to create this Vermeer painting, it was incredible. It took him years to do this. And he actually like built the room where the painting took place. So like he actually like did all the wood carving. He did everything himself. And his rules were that he had to use the exact same conditions that Vermeer had, or else the experiment would be a failure. So if he used artificial lighting, if he didn't have everything be the exact same, it wouldn't work. So like he hand carved all the wood himself to match what was in the painting. He used natural light. He ground his own paint. He had to learn how to grind and create paint.
Yeah.
He had to make all the lenses by hand that he used in the camera obscura. It was crazy. And like he got so detailed with it. At one point, he needed a 36.5-inch leg to a table, but his lathe was only 34 inches long. So instead of just being like, well, it's not that big of a deal, he cut his lathe in half and made it longer so that he could make it be the 36.5 inches.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. He went to Holland and that's where he learned how to grind the paint, and that's where Vermeer is from. And he learned all about Vermeer and the techniques and different things. So I mean, even if you're not a huge art lover, this is just a incredibly fascinating film to watch, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Oh, and I probably should mention that it's made by Penn and Teller. So Penn narrates the film, and it's extremely well made. Like, this is it's kind of a tedious film, especially when he starts the process of creating this Vermeer, and the way that they do it, with the kind of they use like a time lapse thing, but
Yeah.
the way that they do it is really cool because you can actually see. It's almost as if the painting is kind of growing organically. The way that they show it, it's really cool. So yes, definitely recommend this one. Probably one of my favorite docs of the year, actually.
I'm very excited, and I'm not even a Vermeer fan.
I mean, what's your do you have an opinion on that? Because he actually goes, once he devises this method, he goes to experts and shows them, and he's like, "What do you think? What do you think?" And it seemed like they wanted to be like, "Fuck yes, that's it. You just changed the game." But they were all like very modest, and they're like, "Well, we don't really know, but it could be."
Yeah. I mean, would this? I have a ton of questions, so I'll have to watch it. But does he have like really any evidence that this is a technique that Vermeer actually used?
Well, there's several books that theorize that Vermeer had to use optics of some sort. Tim is the one that invents this mirror method.
Because
Like
it'd be
so,
really funny if Vermeer just it was just someone sitting and he was just painting them. And
it's
like
just
they're going
well,
through all this shit.
there's
Vermeer's just
actually
like, nah, just
there's actually a lot of evidence that shows that that's impossible because of how Vermeer paints the light. The way that the light is shown in his paintings, it's more like a photograph, and the specific shades of light and the way that like the sun comes through the window and stuff, it would be impossible for the human eye to pick up those subtle differences.
yeah.
So
Well, I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have to see it.
yeah, you'll have
Because
to
then
see
I'm
it.
thinking, I'm thinking like Louis Daguerre, who he painted like these extremely realistic dioramas where he would paint like whole cityscapes, and they would, put them up. They were enormous, and he has sort of the same thing where his light, the way that he does light, it looks so damn realistic. But I'm thinking like, well, he couldn't have been able to do this whole optics thing, but maybe he did too because he
Well,
was a pioneer of photography.
yeah, and I don't want to get into too much of like the different things that he discovers, because that was kind of the interesting thing about this documentary, is to see where he goes, to see
Yeah.
the journey that he takes. But one thing that he does discover is that originally he thought that Vermeer set up a room, like a dark room,
Yeah.
in his, because they find out that many of Vermeer's paintings were all done in the same room. So he figured out, or he thought that Vermeer must have had a dark room built in this room, pointed at this specific north-facing wall, and that's how he used the camera obscura. But then Tim figured out a way to actually use the camera obscura in an open room, so he could actually position it anywhere.
Oh my.
So that probably explains how, because Vermeer has some kind of cityscape type paintings as well.
I have a feeling that I'm just gonna lose my shit while I'm watching this documentary.
I loved it. I mean,
Because it sounds like so many of the things that I love just coming together.
yeah, and it's really funny too. Like the guy Tim Jennison, he's a really interesting, likable guy, and it's just a really really fun movie. Highly recommend.
I have a movie that's not fun, and that's Bastards from last year, which I'm really bummed out that I didn't get to see this last year because it probably more than likely would have made it on my top 10. This is currently playing on Netflix Instant. It's the newest movie from Claire Denis, and man, this is a stylish thriller, which I've been dying for one for quite some time, and this one just delivered on every aspect. I mean, the soundtrack for the film is just unbelievably haunting with the synthesizers and everything. It's done by a band called Tinder Sticks, which I've never heard of Tinder Sticks before, but I'm excited about them now because the music matches the visuals perfectly. And it's a lot of, contemplative static shots. There's these very slight camera movements, just rounding a turn, like where they have it mounted on the front of a car and they're going around a turn in the middle of the night with just the headlights, and it's just all of it looks just unbelievable. It's very sort of gives the whole entire movie this sense of like impending doom,
Hmm.
even though you're the entire time you're not really sure what that doom is because they keep all of it hidden until the very end. And then just like the last couple minutes where they tie everything together and sort of let you know what's going on, and it's just like a huge what the fuck moment at the end. And the way that that's filmed as well, it's sort of caught on like surveillance tape. So it perhaps one of the, well, outside of Gareth Evans' VHS segment, it's better than any of those. And it only lasts like 2 minutes at the end. But the way that it's filmed, it's better than any of the VHS segments besides maybe Gareth Evans.
What about the segments in Sinister?
Oh, those were pretty good. Yeah, Sinister, those segments are better than anything in VHS. See, there's a lot of things that movies do better than what VHS is trying to do.
Well, yeah, and plus they use it in moderation too. They use it.
Well, that was the problem with the second one is they threw it completely out. Like when you were watching the segments, they weren't filtered through the VHS graininess, which inherently makes everything creepier.
Agreed.
They just threw that out, and it's like, well, what the hell's the point of this whole VHS stick? Besides them putting a VHS tape in a VCR.
That's somehow been downgraded from like a digital copy to a VHS.
Yeah, I don't get it. But Bastards it's great. It starts off man commits suicide because of this like sleazy banker that he was borrowing money from, and you get bits and pieces that this sleazy banker like sexually assaulted their daughter, and she's in the hospital and they have to do like reconstructive surgery on her vagina, and the father slash husband just couldn't take it anymore, so killed himself. And then the the brother comes back that was best friends with the husband who was married to his sister. He comes back and he's going to get vengeance, and he sells all of his property, all of his belongings, and he sets out to get back at this sleazy banker, and then he slowly finds out what actually happened. And it's crazy at the end.
Hmm.
But it's sort of this allegory for colonialism, which Denise does all the time. So
I'm definitely interested in this.
you're gonna I have a
Yeah.
feeling you're gonna love this.
I don't know about like the vagina stuff and
Well, it's just
sexual assault, but
no, it's just they talk about it. You don't really
okay.
see
Good.
anything. At the very end, you do, but they don't like explicitly show it. They just give you a hint, and you're like, oh, okay. You put two and two together,
Yeah. Hmm.
and it
Oh, and
crushes your soul.
you said that this is on Netflix Instant.
This is Netflix instant right now.
The only other one I want to talk about is also on Netflix Instant. Quite different than than Bastards. It's called Time Stalkers.
Time Stalkers.
This is directed by Michael Schultz, and it stars William Devane, Lauren Hutton, and Mr. Klaus Kinski.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Basically, it's this kind of time travel science fiction movie about this history professor who loses his wife and child in a car accident, and he sort of becomes obsessed with like the Wild West for some
Okay.
reason, and because his kid was like really into it, and he finds this photograph that was taken in 1886, and he examines it and he realizes that the person in the photograph is holding a 357 Magnum that was created in 1980, and he is trying to wrap his brain around how this is even possible. Like, he has the photograph analyzed and it comes back authentic, and the only thing that he can come up with is it's fucking time travel.
It has to be.
It's got to be time travel.
It has to be
No
time
other
travel.
explanation. Time travel. And then as soon as he figures this out, this woman, played by Lauren Hutton, comes to meet him from the future, from 600 years in the future, and she tells him that this time traveling scientist guy has gone back in time to the Old West to screw up history, and the two of them must go back and stop him.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous. A lot of the time travel mechanics don't work. You know, like, that's the big thing about time travel movies, is it's got to be really difficult to write a time travel movie and have it make sense.
It's a lot like found footage where you sort of paint yourself into a box.
Yeah,
Where like
exactly.
you gotta nail it's gotta be tight.
Yeah, exactly. And so it just doesn't work. The special effects are ridiculously bad. I mean, they're so terrible. And I mean, William Devane is pretty cool in this. Like, he's cool in a lot of his early stuff. And Klaus Kinski is probably the reason to watch this movie, if there was a reason, because he's ridiculous in this movie.
He's ridiculous in everything.
Like, it just seems like he doesn't even want to be here. Like, he's just like, oh my God, this is so stupid. And he's just phoning it in, but he does it in the funniest way possible. Like, it's ridiculous. Other than that, like, the whole time I'm like, so when William Devane figures out that that this woman can time travel and that they can time travel, I don't understand why the first instinct is, let's go to the West. Let's go back to the West. Like, if I could time travel, the last place I would go would be the Wild West.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
It sounds awful. And it's just, there's so many just silly, dumb things in this movie.
Does he just like buy into it right away?
Yeah.
Like, she comes back and she's like, I'm a time traveler. And he's like, awesome.
What happens is because like with this kind of crystal device thing, they can just kind of jump whenever they want. They can just time travel whenever they want. And she goes into this barn after they figure out this one specific spot where the photograph was taken. And she goes back, and then when she comes back to the present, William Devane happens to be in the barn, and he sees her like jumping back into the present.
Yeah.
So by that point, he's like, "What? And she's like, "I'm a time traveler. Here's your poncho." And he's like, "All right." That's the thing. Like, she comes to the present from the future, and she's carrying a poncho with her the whole time. And then she gives William Devane the poncho to wear. It's like, why would he need a poncho? I'm pretty sure that they have Western style ponchos in 1987 that he could wear. Like, you don't have to bring that all the way from 600 years in the future.
Ponchos are always
not necessary.
It's always going to be ponchos.
And at one point, he has this like kind of bandana thing that he wears, sort of like an ascot.
All right.
And then at one point in the movie, he takes it off and puts it on like a headband and wears that the whole time for some reason. And he looks fucking ridiculous.
Does he wear with the headband with the poncho?
I can't remember.
Please say yes. Please say yes.
I can't remember because he does take it off at one point. And I can't remember if he puts the poncho on. And also,
so she comes back with the poncho. So does she like already know that he's going to immediately want to go to the West?
Well,
Is that
that's
why she brings the poncho.
Well, she knows.
This sounds ridiculous.
She knows that they're going to the West because of the photograph.
Oh, okay.
But I don't even know why she goes back for him, because he's the one that came up with this theory. And she's like, "Oh, you can help me," but I don't really know if she needs the help. She already knows where she's going.
Yeah.
But see, the way that it works is when they go back in time, they are in the exact same spot that they're standing in when they like hit the device.
Yeah.
So I guess she needs his help to find the location of the photograph.
Gotcha.
I should also mention that Cliff from Cheers is in this.
Fantastic.
And Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, is in this Fresh Prince.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, Uncle Phil plays a blacksmith, and Cliff from Cheers plays this army major that is kind of obsessed with collecting old, like, antique military stuff.
Sure.
And at one point, he tries to punch Klaus Kinski with a pair of spurs that he has. And he punches him, but it doesn't. And
Doesn't
then
work.
yeah,
Doesn't
and then
work out.
Klaus Kinski shoots him like 5 times, and he dies.
Oh my.
It's bad. It's very bad. Don't
Wow.
recommend.
Unbelievable.
That's all I got.
I tried another Jacques Tati film. Remember we talked about this guy before.
Nope.
You don't remember this? The sophisticated slapstick?
Oh yeah. Yes, I do now.
I gave it another shot. 1958's My Uncle. And it started out very promising. This is a color film. So the color's very vibrant, looked great, has this modernism look to it. The way the film starts out with like the opening credits and the way that he does like the title card, which is just like looks like someone's just handwritten with chalk the title of the film on a wall. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be won over here. And I wasn't. I was even more stern-faced than last time. And I was honestly just sitting on the couch with just sort of like a concerned, like perplexed look on my face. Like, what am I missing? Am I doing this wrong? Why am I not laughing? Why is this film actually making me mad? Because it's supposed to be like delightful and whimsy and all of those things, but it's not doing that. It's doing the exact opposite. It's making me very angry and concerned and just confused all around. Just an insane amount of befuddlement on my part. And I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. I don't know why these are considered classics. And the worst part is the comedy that he does is he tells the same joke just over and over and over again. And keep in mind, this movie is 2 hours long. So sophisticated, subtle slapstick for 2 hours. And it just grows quickly grows redundant and just tedious beyond belief. And he actually like rehashes jokes from the last film and just redoes them again. And it's like this is really lazy and just poorly executed, in my opinion. I don't get it. I think Titi's he's always gonna befuddle me.
Yeah,
I can't get
just
into it. And then I read like reviews from everybody, and everyone's like 5-star review, and it feels like I'm the only one. I'm just lost in my island of befuddlement, and not liking Tati and his delightful charm or whatever the hell it's supposed to be. I couldn't finish it. I just after a while I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I had to call it quits.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'll be watching this. I just watched the trailer and it did not look
Yeah,
very fun to me.
there's this whole thing where they have this modernist garden where they have all these paths and these stepping stones, and there's really no grass to speak of, and you have to walk on the stepping stones. They do that like 11 times in like 40 minutes, which is just like Tati's character trying to walk on the stepping stones when someone else is walking on the stepping stones, and they have to dance around. And it's supposed to be funny. It's like it maybe a slight chuckle the first time, but the eighth time around, it's just lazy and tiresome, and I can't do it anymore. So if someone can explain to me what Tati's all about, give me a heads up, because I'm really confused.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into a review of Willow Creek. This came out this weekend. It's playing in theaters and on demand right now. Written and directed by Bobcat Goldthwait. I have a synopsis here. From celebrated director Bobcat Goldthwait comes this edge-of-your-seat horror that will make you think twice before going into the woods. Now, Kevin, I have a review up for this. Kevin, did it make you think twice? Are you going to think twice now before going into the woods?
No.
No, me neither.
Nope.
Now, we've talked about this numerous times. We talked about it just a few minutes ago, in fact. Neither of us are big fans of found footage, and it's not that I'm not a big fan of found footage. I'm just tired of it.
It's just you're run down.
I mean, it's just I've seen so many of these. I feel like every week we're getting a new found footage movie to watch, and I'm just tired of it. And I think that that's kind of shitty for movies like this.
Yeah, the big problem is, which we touched on earlier, you paint yourself into a box. So much so that with the number of found footages that are out there now, especially found footage horror, is you pretty much know before it even starts how it's going to play out.
Exactly.
There's going to be the explanatory stuff at the beginning where they're sort of like, this is what we're doing. We're going on this trip to find out about this. And then they interview the locals and they're like, oh, you shouldn't be here. This isn't a good idea. And then they go
Turn
in and
around.
do it, and shit happens, and then the camera falls at the end. And you're like, oh, it was all on a camera. Yeah, fucking cool.
Well, so what did you think of Willow Creek?
The best thing about Willow Creek is it was only 80 minutes.
Yeah.
So I only wasted 80 minutes of my time. This is another movie that is befuddling the shit out of me because it currently has a 93%
Mm-hmm.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
The
I,
only thing I can come up with
uh,
is that critics don't see a lot of found footage. Because when I
uh, I'm just,
I
I'm
feel like
baffled.
I feel like I need to kind of defend or put some sort of like preface on my review because I gave it a 6.5, and I was trying to be as objective as I could while watching this, and I was really trying not to think about the 50 other found footage movies that I've seen in the last 2 years.
Well, it's something else that I've discussed before is the sad state of horror films. Where, because I read your review and yours, and I think it's how you end your review where you're saying like, out of all the shitty found footage horror movies out there, this one's not too bad.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, that's where we're at with horror movies. That's like that's an endorsement. Like it's not as bad as all the other shit out there.
Well, I would say that this is not the best found footage movie to come out this year.
I'll give him credit that it's perhaps the most realistic
It's very
found
realistic.
footage.
It's well written too. I actually liked the characters. Like I didn't hate them. Normally with found
You
footage
do,
movies, I hate the characters.
you do usually hate them and just you're just sitting on the edge of your seat with your fingers crossed, like please let it happen.
Let it happen now. Let it happen within the next 5 minutes. But I actually liked these characters. I thought that they felt realistic to me. Like they felt like real people, not just actors pretending to be real people.
Yeah.
And I think that that goes a long way with found footage. There was another one that came out this year called Affliction. Or no, I'm sorry, Afflicted. And that was similar where the characters actually felt like real people. And that I think that that really goes a long way with these movies. And I thought it was funny too, at least at the beginning. I thought that there were a number of parts that made me laugh.
There's a couple chuckles in there. But and one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people are like losing their shit over is the 20-minute
Ah,
tent scene.
yeah.
Which again, I like I said, this is extremely realistic because that's probably, that's what would happen. It's but it's so realistic that it's as boring as real life is.
It does
Which I don't know if it's to me, this is just I sat there and watched for 20 minutes two people
just staring, just looking
attentively
around.
listening
Yeah.
to sounds in the night. And people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh my God, it's amazing." It's like, no, you turn a camera on, you sit it down, and you have two people essentially sit there and do nothing except,
I
cry out in terror once in a blue moon.
I think that it was an interesting choice to do that.
It's an interesting choice, but it doesn't work. It's not entertaining. It's not thought-provoking. It's just two people sitting.
I think maybe it's designed to build suspense, but
It, yeah, but
and at first it does. That's the thing. Like at first
it
you're like,
goes
"Oh
on for
shit,"
way too long.
and it's like it peaks and then it starts to go down. You know what I mean? Like so, like at first, like for like the first 5 minutes you're watching that sequence, you're just like, oh my god, what's
Something's
gonna
gonna
happen?
happen.
It's gonna happen soon. And then like 10 minutes, and you're like, all right, okay. And then
And
finally, by the
then,
time something
and then
happens, you're just like, you're done with it.
And then there's another howling sound, and well, for me at least, there was another howling sound, and I thought to myself, what am I watching? Because I just like I sort of forgot. I'm like, what is this even about? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, they're Bigfoot or something. It's just I lost interest in 80 minutes. It couldn't sustain my interest for 80 minutes. I'm baffled by all the praise.
I'm also I don't really get it. Like, I didn't read any other reviews on this. I meant to, but I didn't read what anybody else was saying. And I mean, was it like the end that everybody's loving?
Oh, people are loving mostly the tent scene. That seems to be the huge thing because oh man, he did 20 minute single take, which yeah, it's
Come
a
on.
fucking camera
Give me
sitting
a
on a
break. I'm sorry, but that does not deserve any kind of praise. Like it's literally people just
sitting
the
holding each other.
the camera is
It's
stuck. It's
it's
like on a tripod. I mean, come on,
it's
anybody can do that.
they turn a camera on and sit it on top of a sleeping bag, essentially, and two people hold each other and just listen to stuff. And I mean, like, yeah, they don't fuck up for that 20 minutes, but how hard is it to act
To
like
just
you're listening to
yeah,
things?
and just be kind of scared. I mean, it was fine for me. Like I knew that people were going to be talking about that scene for sure. But the thing that I liked the most was a specific camera shot that happened at the very end. I don't want to give it away, but there was something that happened with the camera at the end that I liked a lot. I thought it looked really
What was
cool.
it? Let's do it. Bust it out there. Because I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a spoiler to say nothing happens.
It was the shot when the camera was getting dragged through the grass.
Okay.
I liked that. I thought that looked
Okay.
really cool.
Gotcha.
And the
Yeah, I like how they just stumble upon that.
that was kind of a surprise.
They just stumble upon that, and that's when I was like, "Oh, something's gonna happen." But I do like the idea of like, how did we come to find this footage? Like, is this the Bigfoots themselves? Like, are they watching this on their Acer
Well,
and putting it together? Because I do like the Bigfoot's choice to start the movie at the end and then to go back to the beginning.
maybe one of the towns, maybe that guy that blocked their
I
path.
I like to think that it's the Bigfoot, the group of Bigfoot. They get the camera, they
I
download it,
like imagining seeing a
they
group
download it
of
onto their Acer, and they cut it together and they threw it out there.
I like that. I like
They
that
started
idea.
they started a Kickstarter, got the necessary funds, finished the film up, did the festival run, released it on VOD. That's how I like to think all of this went down. Because it's the only way I can make it interesting.
I'm pretty sure in all of the found footage movies I've ever seen, there's only one, and that's The Dirties, that actually it actually tells you how this footage came to be.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's like one thing that they can never seem to explain is how did we get this footage?
How'd we get it?
Who edited it? Who put this together? Although I think that for the most part, we're supposed to believe that this is like the raw footage.
Maybe it was the hefty woman with nothing but underpants on.
It might have been. I mean, it might have been the thing that I thought was kind of interesting was the guy that blocks their path and tells them to get the fuck out of here and all this stuff. That scene to me was kind of like the seed of doubt, like where I was like, okay, maybe we're supposed to be questioning whether or not this is Bigfoot or a human that's fucking with them.
Yeah.
So I thought that putting something in like that to make us question whether or not they were dealing with a series of a clan of big feet, Bigfoots,
Big feets.
big
I like
feets,
to I like to call them big feets.
a series like a clan of big feets, or maybe it was a clan of creepy mountain men that they were dealing with. We don't know.
We don't know, but either or, they're both just as uninteresting in my eyes. It's
Yeah.
like to me that seed of doubt's like that doesn't make it any better.
I can't help but wonder though if this came out instead of the Blair Witch Project. I think that this was better than the Blair Witch Project. I think that this did things in a more entertaining and more effective way than Blair Witch.
Once again, this isn't Bobcat Goldthwait's fault, but if this movie just came out, no one really, it got sort of mixed reviews and it was like 55%, 60%. Some people liked it, most people didn't, that type of deal. I wouldn't be that enthusiastic about my dislike for the movie. I think it's more so that it has a 93% and everyone's losing their shit over it, which again is not Bobcat's fault. But I think that does play into it a little bit where I'm like, what the fuck am I missing?
I have to
What didn't I
wonder.
see?
I have to wonder if just the fact that it was Bobcat Goldthwait that directed this.
That's another thing. It would be
I
interesting
have
to
to
see if this
believe.
was if this was a no name.
Yeah, I have to believe that him doing this has something to do with this being so successful.
It'd be interesting to see if this was directed by the guy that did like Wrong Turn 4
Right.
to see how people would react to it.
Because, I mean, in the pantheon of found footage, yes, this is one of the better ones.
It's
Absolutely.
also extremely forgettable, like 90% of the other ones.
Yes. It's
Because
just that
are you gonna remember Willow Creek within like next month?
I already forgot most of what happens in it. I remember the silly painting of the big feats on
That
the
that
side of the
was
building.
see that I did. That was one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed. The breakdown of the forced
Yeah.
labor of the big feats. Such a weird mural.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. There were like a lot of there were a number of things I did like about this movie. I just like the little town that they were in. I'm a big fan of weird roadside attractions and places like that, like off the highway, diners and stuff. I like all that stuff. So, seeing that was cool, and I liked his commentary on everything and the creepy townsfolk and stuff like that. I liked all that. I thought it was funny.
I did. The creepiest part for me was the owner of the bookstore. His eyes were the creepiest thing in the entire movie.
Yep.
But I was very happy for I'm not sure how long it lasted, but there was no mention of like, oh, let's make a porno with this, which seems to be in every single found
Everything.
footage movie
Yeah.
ever. They're always like, let's make a porno. And I was
Yeah.
really happy they didn't do that, but then he sort of did, which
He,
pissed
he,
me off.
yeah, he kind of did, but that was kind of like a joke thing, though.
No, this to me feels like a joke.
The whole movie feels like a joke.
Yeah, like fuck you for liking found footage horror. This is how easy it is.
Maybe that's it. I mean,
Maybe
that's what Bobcat Goldthwait does.
that's what he does do, but still, then it's still not. I'll be like, I'll give you like a golf clap, like, I got what you're doing.
I
But it's
get
still
it.
not a good. It's still not a good movie, and I never want to watch it again.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm sure there would be no reason to watch it again. I mean, it's just the same reason that you would never watch Blair Witch again. I mean, you never saw Blair Witch, did you?
I never have.
Yeah.
I guess that's something. I think the lesson of today is there's a lot of stuff that I need to see.
Kevin used to watch a lot of movies.
A lot of movies to watch. Got to stop wasting my time with these tatty, sophisticated slapstick bullshit.
Watch
me
some Blair Witch.
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows.
Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadow, and Time Stalkers. Double bill. What's up?
You don't need to see Blair
No,
Witch, really. I mean,
really?
that one's one you don't need to see because, it's like you saw Willow Creek, so you saw Blair Witch. It's the same,
Essentially, yeah.
it's the same thing. Although Blair Witch is like 10 times more annoying.
I did notice that a lot of people were like, "This is exactly like Blair Witch."
Oh, yeah.
Except for whatever's in I guess the Blair Witch is just cut out and there's a Sasquatch put in.
Yeah, it's I mean, structurally, it's like almost exactly the same. This is more entertaining though. I mean, like in Blair Witch, it's literally a group of like 4 people in the woods the whole time, and it's shot on this like grainy black and white, and it's like super super shaky handheld.
Yeah, I do remember seeing bits and pieces of it with the extreme close up and the shaky cam, and
Yeah,
I can't do that.
the crying and the snot coming out of her nose, and
I can't do that. I don't have time.
yeah, I remember seeing this in the theater, and people were just getting motion sick from it and stuff. Either way, so I gave Willow Creek a very generous 6.5 out of 10. And again, I will say that when I was reviewing it, I was trying not to think about other found footage movies. I was trying to do it as objectively as I could. Personally, on a personal level, I am sick and tired of found footage movies. And this, I knew the score for this before going into it. I knew it had like a 90-some%. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to be like what makes me have faith in these found footage movies. And it wasn't. Like, I just didn't understand. I
I didn't know. I'm still confused. I don't know if I watched the wrong.
I know, I was just gonna say.
Did I watch the wrong edit?
Did we see some like weird version? I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, what are you gonna give Willow Creek?
I give Willow Creek a uh, a 1.
I like how you were just. I gave it a. One.
I thought about a 2 there for like a split second, but then I went back to the 1. Definitely the 1.
I knew you were gonna hate that one, so
Yeah.
that's not a surprise to me. Willow Creek is playing in select cities and video on demand now. All right, let's talk about Edge of Tomorrow. Ernie, welcome back to the show. How you doing, sir?
I am doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So this is directed by Doug Liman, stars Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Bill Paxton. I have a synopsis here. An officer finds himself caught in a time loop in a war with an alien race. His skills increase as he faces the same brutal combat scenarios, and his union with a special forces warrior gets him closer and closer to defeating the enemy. Now, Ernie, you wrote a review for this on the site. You gave it an 8.5. I didn't read your review because I knew we were going to be talking about it today. So I'll start it off. And going into this movie, I should also mention that Brendan Gleeson is in it too. I forgot to mention him. Going into this, I had no expectations. I was not thrilled with the trailer. Didn't really want to see it at all. But I was pleasantly surprised. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought that the action was well done. I actually liked the whole Groundhog Day mechanic. And one of the big surprises to me was that it was actually quite funny.
Right.
I really liked the comedic elements of this movie. Seeing Tom Cruise get killed over and over again.
Probably like a wish fulfillment fantasy for his detractors.
Yeah, it was a gas. Just generally speaking, I liked it quite a bit. Now, what are your general thoughts?
The first I heard of this movie was at Comic-Con. I guess it was last year or the year before. And at the time, it was going under its original title, All You Need Is Kill, which is the title of the novel that the film is based on. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, looks cool, but it's like, it's one of those, like, I'll see it, but I'm like, it's freaking Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
And when the trailers came out, I was like, all right, it's Groundhog Day with a sci-fi twist. And I'm like, I'll still check it out. I'm like, it looks like it could be good. And then I was rather surprised that it was better than I thought it would be. Mainly because, one, the sense of humor was very prevalent, and I was not expecting that. It was actually quite funny here and there. Not just funny, ha-ha, but just really amusing on how the dynamics of things work out and what they have to go through. It was actually just quite funny to think about. And the repetitiveness of it actually capitalizes on that and makes it makes it even funnier.
Mm-hmm.
And just the extent, again, when you're dealing with time travel movies, time loop movies, you're always like thinking it's like, oh, they're probably going to mess something up. But just like, not saying this is T2 level, but I remember in Terminator 2, there was a moment where diehards knew the history of Terminator. You knew what was going to happen, how this was going to happen, what was going to bring it about. And then there's just one moment where everything changed, and then you don't know what the hell's going to happen. They changed the future, so now everything is an unwritten book. And so there's a moment in here where you're seeing the time loop again and again and again, and you kind of think you know where it's going. And then there was one instance where, just like in T2, something happened that changed everything. Yeah. Something's going to have to like really mess things up, and it could go good, could go bad, and you don't know where the hell this is going to go. So I was like, that was something I loved about it.
Yeah, I liked all that stuff too. I like the exosuits that they wore. I thought that they were pretty cool. The whole movie felt like a video game. Like, everything about this movie felt like a video game where the character keeps dying
I even mentioned it in my review, and I was talking about the D-Day invasion in the first Medal of Honor,
Mm-hmm.
and how frustrating it was just to finish that opening level. I'm like, I can't even think back how many times it took me to finally get through the damn thing. And I didn't
Yeah,
cheat. As far as I know, I can't remember for sure, but I don't think I cheated.
yeah. I mean, it's just like you do it over and over and over again, and then eventually your muscle memory kicks in. You remember where the enemies pop up, and that's exactly how this movie plays out. He keeps doing it over and over again until he memorizes where everything is, and it's very much like a video game. I did have some issues with it. The ending, I had some problems with
Right.
the end, and I don't know if I guess we could get into some spoilers in a little bit, but I did have some minor issues with the ending.
Yeah, for me, the
Uh,
end, same here. The ending was probably the main standout issue that I had with the movie, but not enough to ruin it. So
Yeah, it wasn't enough to ruin it for me. I looked at this like just an entertaining summer blockbuster. Like, I didn't think that this was amazing or anything. I wasn't blown away by anything that happened in the movie, but it was all serviceable. Like,
yeah,
it was just fun. It was
yeah, it
fun and
was
entertaining.
straight up popcorn
Yeah,
as I call it. And it was just fun.
exactly. And I did like the mechanic and how they explained it, because it at first, just from the trailers, I was like, how does any of this even make sense? Like, how does this work? But it all kind of fell into place, and you were, except for that ending, you were all kind of like, okay, I get it. I understand how this works. And it does kind of throw some interesting things in there once you realize that, you know, the enemy knew that this was happening, and certain other things that they kind of throw in, and that kind of gives it a little bit more depth and makes it more of a thinker, but you still don't have to think too much while watching this movie. Performance wise, I thought Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt were pretty great.
Yeah,
You know, say what you will about Tom Cruise, but he's a great actor, and this movie just shows once again that he has the ability to be serious. He gives a more comedic performance in this movie than he has in a while,
right.
and he's just I think he's just a great actor.
Yeah, and it's like with his character, it's not giving anything away, but he at the beginning, he's likable, but he turns out to be a coward. He's not
Right.
he's nothing more than a war correspondent who doesn't want to
Right.
get his hands dirty, and
And
and you're like
that was
thinking,
something I didn't expect. How at the beginning of the movie we
yeah,
realize he's not a soldier. Like,
yeah,
he's thrown into this fight by Brendan Gleeson, and he has no idea what's going on.
yeah. He's not at the beginning. He's not Maverick, nowhere near Maverick. So, and it's like he's definitely the kind of guy you would not want to have as your wingman.
Was one of the first issues that I was thinking about while watching this. He's like this big time war correspondent who's on all the TV channels, all the news channels, and yet no one seems to know who he is when they knock him out and, you know, demote him down to a private. Like, did that not strike you as odd that suddenly no one knows who this guy is?
Um, it didn't come to mind right away. I mean, it seems like the whole. I mean, it's all explained in like the first 5 minutes. That it seems like the whole battle is localized to Europe. So.
So
And
maybe they
it's-
wouldn't
so
have
maybe
seen
these recruits are unaware of, and he's an American. So maybe these recruits are actually local and they know nothing of
That's
the
true.
American coverage. So it's. And he keeps saying, "Hey, you have no control of me. I'm a U.S. officer." And it's like, it's like,
That was the other thing I liked. I liked and disliked about this movie. The thing that I liked was the fact that he, early in the film, joins up with this kind of crew, and it felt very Aliens to me. Like, it had that kind of vibe where you have this like crew of roughnecks, and each person is different and unique in their own way, but they're all badasses. You know, they're all these
right,
badass soldiers. And then at one point in the film, he needs to kind of recruit them to come with him on a mission. And what happens there, I'll save it for spoilers, but what happens there, I was like, that is just, it felt like a wasted opportunity, to me at least. I wanted to see more of him working with that crew. I wanted to see more of that crew. But definitely had an Aliens vibe to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, thanks to Aliens and Predator, I don't think any film since then has ever managed to capture the dynamic of a squad.
Yeah, I agree. But this got close because I did like the squad. I just wanted more of them. I wanted to see more of them being badasses. Now, what did you think of the creatures? What are they called? Mimics?
They're called mimics. When I first saw the creatures, I think they look like the squids in Matrix, whatever those things are called.
Yeah, they did kind of have that vibe.
But it turned out that they're organic, so they're not machines. At least the best I can tell. I mean, they were cool. The idea of their abilities was interesting, and the film doesn't dwell too long on what their abilities are. It just says like, this is all you need to know, and we're gonna go from here. I mean, I'm willing to guess that that's further explained in the novel, but for the film, it gave you just all you needed to know of who they are, what they can do, what you need to do to beat them. And...
Right, and I think that the consensus was also that we didn't know that much about them as humans. Also, like we didn't know, what's his name? The scientist. He's in.
What's his name?
Noah Taylor.
Noah Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one that kind of figured it out and had this theory about them, but everybody thought that he was a kook, so nobody really listened to what he had to say.
Which is kind of amusing. If this was actually fact based, would people be that think time travel and whatnot is crazy when you're dealing with actual extraterrestrials?
yeah. In this world where aliens have invaded us, does that seem crazy? Speaking of the time travel mechanics, so they say in the trailer, so it's not that's not giving anything away, that these mimics have the ability to reset the day. So they can go back in time a day. So if one of them gets killed, they can just reset the day and start over again, and they can learn our patterns. And the whole premise is that through a series of events, Tom Cruise taps into this ability.
Right.
Now, what did you think of how all that played out with him being able to reset the day every time he dies?
I like that idea. I thought that was cool. It does leave itself open to some scrutiny if you really stop to think about it. But all of that probably won't come into play until after the movie's done. Then you can go back and think about things. But as the movie progresses, it works just fine, and it presents a lot of comedic moments and some really cool moments. But overall, it was just a really cool dynamic.
And it was something that I thought, I wasn't buying into it from just reading the premise and judging from the trailers. I was just like, oh, come on, sci-fi Groundhog Day, give me a break. But in execution, I thought that it worked really well, and it was really fun, especially when he's doing the training, and every time he fucks up in the training, Emily Blunt just shoots him in the face.
There's even a great Bill Paxton moment, after one of his failed loops, and Bill Paxton's reaction is just savage, laughing your ass off.
Yeah,
Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton was great in this. I loved him as this. Was he a sergeant from Kentucky?
Yep. I guess he's the drill sergeant. I guess.
Yeah. So. Master Sergeant Farrell, loved him in that role. I'm struggling to talk about things that aren't spoilers, so maybe we should just get into. This.
If you see the trailer doesn't give everything away. It does give out some moments that would have been cool to be left for the reviewer to discover. But if you see in the trailer, don't base your decision to see the movie you're not on the trailer. Just go.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like I said before, the trailer didn't do it for me. I was not buying into it. The suits looked cool. It looked like there was some cool action, but it looked kind of generic to me. And it turns out that this it's not generic. It's actually quite well made and entertaining and fun. let's go ahead and jump into some spoilers. So we'll put the time code in the show notes. So if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow yet, just go ahead and skip ahead over this part. The big thing, I guess, would be the ending. So he kills the Omega and I guess consumes its blood, or its blood kind of goes into him.
Yeah.
And then it resets the day all the way back to when he's in the helicopter.
Mm.
But when he resets the day, since the Omega's dead, they don't come back. That was the ending was the only thing that I was having a hard time really grasping what was going on there.
Yeah, it was kind of confusing initially on first viewing because as we were talking about this, it just popped in my head. A possible theory for it is that we know that when you die and if you kill an alpha and its blood gets into you as you die, and when you die, you end up harnessing their power of resetting, the ability to reset the day, which explains why the mimics are able to beat the human soldiers, because they already know what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And so we know that he has the ability to reset the day. And then in the end, when Cage gets killed and is dying, and then he consumes it, then his day is reset. And I was thinking, it's like, okay, you have the ability to reset the day, and again, this is where it comes in, where you start thinking about the construct of the time travel. Does that mean it's like you had the ability to reset the day? You choose the moment where to go to, and then you're like, okay, then why does he keep going to the day when he's dumped on the deck? Like, I don't know. And then in this case, he's back in the helicopter. And I was just thinking that maybe he's not resetting the day. It's actually the day is being reset to whatever alien just died.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. That it resets it to the Omega thinks that Tom Cruise is the Alpha, and when he dies, it resets his day, thinking that he's an Alpha.
Yeah.
Because they say in the movie that it's the Omega that actually resets the day, and but is it not? It's not all in one day though, right? Because when he wakes up, it's the day before he gets killed.
Yeah. So that could be a 24-hour period. So
maybe
it's the day before, and then they get dumped on. Then they go through like some pretty intense PT, and then they get dumped on the beach the next morning. So it could be like with a 24-hour day. So maybe maybe the Omega technically, maybe the Omega was killed before, but no one had the ability to reset the day yet. So I don't know. But
and then plus when the final reset happens, it puts him back way more than a day.
It's like it's the day before, so he arrives, and it's again it was like you're dealing with alternate timelines too now. So this could be like the 3000th alternate timeline, and hence once he killed off the Omega and the invasion didn't, and then I guess the invasion didn't happen. Oh wait, I'm just opening a whole can of worms now. Confused.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's weird to think about, because up until that final moment, everything was reset a day.
Yeah.
And in that final moment, they reset it all the way back, like however many days. We don't know how many days
it was like
from
the events, the invasion. He's going to London or wherever, or Paris, or whatever they were going, and then suddenly the aliens die off. I'm like, now I'm thinking, it's like, but if the aliens, and when did the Omega arrive? So
yeah, it's crazy. I don't know.
Hopefully that's in the novel.
Well, I think from what I read, the novel, the ending of the novel is quite a bit different than the movie. They changed a lot from the original novel and the original screenplay, from what I heard.
Yeah. Well, also the ending could also be basically just kowtowing to Hollywood, and it's like we got to have the obligatory happy Hollywood ending.
I mean, you know that. Come on, everything just ends so perfectly and wrapped in a nice little bow where he meets up with.
I mean, it would have been. I mean, granted, it would have been really cool if they're all dead. Yeah.
If they all just died, and then
they all just died, and then the world goes on. It's like, hey, suddenly the aliens are dead. I don't know what the hell happened. Yay us.
Well, that's what would make sense, right? Like, he kills the Omega because the Omega is the one that has the power to travel back in time. He kills it, even though he dies. All the other aliens die, and then we win. End of movie. Mm-hmm. Like, that makes sense. But to have the blood go into him. How does the blood even go into him? He's dead. He's not breathing, so he can't breathe it in. I mean, none of that makes sense. But at the same time, I don't like. It wasn't a deal breaker for me. Like, it didn't bother me that much. Like you said, it was not until after the movie that I really started thinking about it and was like, wait a minute, that doesn't work. I don't get that.
Yeah, but still overall, everything seems to be like pretty compact, and they got everything under control in terms of the time travel. But just the ending kind of like spins it into a different territory where you're like scratching your head. It's like, wow, why is this happening? Okay, I get it. You said it was like, why is everybody saluting him? How do they know? Why is he important? I'm like, it's like something's askew here. But I'm like, okay. But before the ending, everything was cool. Even the finale for them to finally take down the Omega was pretty exciting. And then
it was cool. And going back to what I said before, I wish so. He compiles this team, and he's like, oh, we're gonna need help. We need some help on this. So he gets this team together, and they all fucking die right away. So it's like, did you really need the team? Really, you just needed one dude to fly the ship in there, and that's it. Like, I wanted to see more of them, fighting the not the alphas, but whatever the drones or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Wanted to see more of that and more of them like exploring the area in, what is it, the Louvre? That's where it is, right?
Yep, that's where it is.
Wanted to explore that area and stuff, and I just wanted more of that team. And I thought that it was shitty that they all got killed right away.
But they all came back in the end.
Of course, yeah. Everything's fine.
Yeah, everything is fine.
Everything just goes back to normal. So the other thing is that Emily Blunt has experienced this also.
Yeah, that's touched upon in the trailer, but probably isn't entirely,
right, it is
entirely clear as to what exactly she's getting at.
So the whole thing is that, like, there was another battle before the one that's in the movie that we see multiple times, and during that battle, she had the ability, and she was able to win that battle by using the ability. And as it turns out, the mimics wanted her to win that battle, and they were planting visions. That's the other thing that I'm not really sure about. They were planting visions in their heads as to where the Omega is located. But it's like, if the mimics, like, why even bother doing that? Because how do we know what the Omega is? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we never saw the Omega before.
Are we sure it was the battle that Emily Blunt's character was in that was the setup? Or was it the battle on the beach that was the setup? Because I think it was the battle on the beach that was the setup.
No, they said that they wanted them to win that battle with Emily Blunt because that way it got all of the soldiers in one place for that final battle. So the final battle was a trap, yes, but the one before that, they wanted them to win because then now the humans think that we're winning this war when in fact it's quite the opposite. They were going to finish us off. Right.
And then that moment in T2 that I was mentioning of is how Emily Blunt's character, Rita, it's like Reykjavik or something like that. Can't remember her character's last name. But she loses her ability because of a blood transfusion. And then at some point, Cage, Tom Cruise's character, ends up getting a blood transfusion, and he loses the ability. So,
which I loved that scene because through the whole movie, we know that he's just going to reset. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not a huge deal when he gets killed. The stakes aren't that high. But then as soon as he gets the blood transfusion and he's like, shit, I don't have the power anymore. Then it's like, okay, now we got to start.
Yeah, so that's where really, this is where it gets interesting because now it's like one and done. Just like just like trying to get through Resident Evil with one life.
Yeah, and I liked when that happened. I thought that was really cool. I kind of figured that would happen at some point, but because they explained how all that works, where you start seeing the visions, and then she got injured, had lost all of her blood, and then lost the ability. But what I'm wondering is, what if she didn't lose all of her blood? What if she still had the ability.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't die, if you don't kill yourself at the end of the day, does the day reset?
Yeah.
Do you just go to sleep? Like, do you have to die, or do you just keep living?
Yeah. I mean, what if all we were seeing in the movie were actually her resets,
Ooh.
and Cruz's Cage is just part of that. So
They were both resetting.
Yeah.
They were both resetting everything. Oh man, that is.
So that would be like, and then everything gets jumbled. So,
Yeah. Yeah. What if they were both resetting at the same time? It would have been a mess.
yeah. So who knows?
And what happens? What I want to know is like, what happens to those people when the reset occurs? Do they just disappear, or do they wake up? Do they wake up at the same time as Tom Cruise the day before, but just don't realize that it's been reset? Or do their lives go on until they all get killed? These are pretty crazy. This is a mind fuck.
That would actually make you mental, and they would probably put you in the loony bin or the psych ward. So,
the other thing, I thought that it felt kind of long to me. Like, there were certain parts that I thought dragged, like especially when they finally get past the beach, and I was like, oh yeah, they're going to go to that dam, and then they're going to kill the Omega, and it's game over for them. But then they realize that the Omega's not at the dam, that they were implanting those visions to trap them, and then it's like, oh shit, now we got this whole other thing that we got to go through. And it started to drag a little bit for me at that point.
I didn't mind it. I didn't really mind it at all. I mean, the stable scene, basically, I mean, initially when you think of it and see, you're probably, this is the part where he's going to try to romance her, get to know her, and
I like that.
They fall in love and whatnot. And this thing is like, you think that's where it go, and then you realize something's off here. And it's like, why is he like? You think he's being a douche because he's stopping off to hit on this girl in the midst of a war where mankind is in the balance.
Yeah.
And then you realize as it's going on, is like, oh, he's trying to prevent her death.
And that was
the
other thing.
This is going to happen here, and he knows it. So.
Yeah.
And the fact that he said this, like, no matter how many times I've done this, which probably means he probably went to this moment like 1,000 times, it's like, I can't save you.
Yeah, that was one thing I liked about that scene, was that we didn't know that he had been here already. Like, we didn't know that this was part of, like, he got this far in the game, so to speak. Like, and then we realize there's little things that they give you hints of, like how he finds the coffee and the shirt and all that stuff. And then you start to realize, like, okay, he's been here before, and then he reveals it, and then he explains that no matter whatever happens, she dies.
I guess you could say that's almost a tip of the hat to the Groundhog Day comparison, because basically Bill Murray's Groundhog Day was basically he's supposed to redo everything again and again until he gets everything just right to get Andy McDowell. So it's almost like this little moment here seems like, okay, this is going to be the Groundhog Day moment. Mm-hmm. And then you find out it's nothing like that.
No, nothing like that at all. Any other spoilers?
No, nothing I can think of.
No, there's nothing I can really think of either. Let's go ahead and get back into it. Welcome back if you skipped over. Final thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow, Ernie?
Definitely one of the better sci-fi films. Certainly better than Oblivion, and of course light years beyond After Earth.
No, I haven't seen After Earth.
Unfortunately, I can't compare it to Elysium, which I haven't seen. But
better.
Probably maybe on the level of a District 9, but not as good. I mean, clearly it's nowhere near as good as Days of Future Past, but for a time travel film, it's actually they're really solid and definitely a lot of fun. So if you just have a fun time at a movie that you can just jump right into without thinking it's like, oh, I haven't seen the sequels or the last ones or anything like that. This one you can just dive right in and just enjoy it. Yeah,
and I thought that a lot of the design work, like on the exosuits and stuff, that was really cool. Like all of that looked really good.
They were surprisingly really simplistic.
Yeah, yeah, they were. But I thought that all that stuff looked good. It looked like they used a lot of practical effects for the suits and stuff, which I liked a lot. I thought that the CG work on the aliens was not very good. Like, they didn't look that good to me at all. But all the other stuff I thought looked quite good.
Right.
Now, did you see this in 2D or 3D?
I did see it in 3D. 3D was fine. I don't think it's a need to see it in 3D. No.
I have an interesting story regarding that. So I've been trying to avoid 3D, and I just keep getting roped into seeing the 3D version. So with this one, I tried to go see it in 2D, sat down in the theater. The opening credits started rolling, and everything was neon pink and neon green. And at first,
Wow.
I thought that it was like a stylistic thing. Like it was supposed to look, because if you remember, like the beginning, very beginning, like title cards, they make it look like it's like news footage, and it's like kind of messed up, and it shows like like the screen gets screwed up periodically. And I thought that it was that was part of it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then like the actual movie began, I was like, wait a minute. And it turned out that at the theater I was in, they put the 3D version into the 2D projector, and
Oops.
it was all screwed up. And then so they had to move everybody in that theater to another theater and then play it in 3D. So I saw the 3D
Really?
version.
Lately I've been thinking, if I can go 3D, I'll see it. But I mean, I saw X-Men in 2D, and I saw Godzilla in 2D and 3D. I actually prefer the 2D, because you can actually see it.
Unless it's shot natively in 3D,
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, I know I'm not running out the door to go see it, but I know Transformers is the first to be shot with IMAX 3D cameras. So that'll be actually one to see in IMAX 3D, because see how that turns out. I mean, I'm not expecting much, but
I'm expecting nothing from that movie. So, well, there you have it. Edge of Tomorrow. You gave it an 8.5. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. So definitely check that out. It's in theaters now. Thank you so much, Ernie, for taking some time to talk with us.
no problem.
All right, let's go over some predictions. Last week we said Edge of Tomorrow. You said 74. I said 62. Actual 89. I have not been doing too good on these predictions recently.
I don't think any of us really have.
It's not been too good. The Fault in Our Stars. You said 78. I said 74. Actual 82.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That could end up on the top 10 this summer.
I didn't even think about.
Well, see, I did. I was thinking about it, and when I was making my list, I was like, man, Fault in Our Stars, that's going to be big. But then I thought it won't be bigger than like these big superhero movies, because I don't know any guy that's going to want to go see The Fault in Our Stars. But that was backwards. I shouldn't have thought of that, because all the guys are going to be seeing it because their girlfriends and wives are going to be dragging them to go see this.
Plus, you also gotta take into account the compromise views.
The compromise, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, hey,
And
if you
I
go
should've-
see Godzilla with me, I'll go see
Right.
Fault in Our Stars with you.
And especially because Edge of Tomorrow came out this weekend too, which is, I think that, that's could be a universally viewed movie, but I'm sure that it's more guys would be interested in seeing it. So right there, you got your compromise.
You didn't take into account the compromise views.
I know. It's my fault.
It's film viewing it's a tricky business.
Yep. There's always things I forget to factor in,
Like, I just sort of forgot that it was a big young adult novel.
Huge.
I just completely forgot about that
Yeah.
until I started seeing, the advertisement for it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Damn it. But I did hear one exchange from that movie, which just made me laugh my ass off.
Doesn't look good to me, but whatever. It's not for me, so. Next week we have How to Train Your Dragon 2. This is going to be a big daddy.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on this?
Thinking like a 90.
I'm going to say 93 on that. We're talking Willow Creek levels here.
Oh, that's terrible that you can say that now.
Yeah. Well, we also have 22 Jump Street. This has also been getting extremely good reviews. So people are saying it's better than the first one.
I really hope so because I'm dying for a comedy.
I'll say 89 on that one.
I think I'm gonna go 90 again. I think we're gonna get quad 90s.
It's gonna be a big week next week. I'm very excited for both of those movies. So
I don't know why I say quad 90s.
yeah, I don't know. I just let it go. He's like quad 90s. Well, he must mean something. I'm not sure why.
I'm also talking about The Signal.
Yeah, that's it. That's so in limited release next week we have Witching and Bitching.
Yep, that's the other 90.
I'm pretty excited to see that actually. It looks kind of interesting.
I have no idea what this is.
I think it's a Spanish horror comedy.
Oh.
It played at a festival. I don't know if it was Fantastic Fest or one of those. The Signal, which I tried to see that at Sundance, but schedule didn't work out. But I'm interested in that. The Rover, extremely interested in that. I can't wait to see that.
I know. I can't wait a year and a half. Check that one out. It's gonna be awesome.
Hellion, and that comes out on video on demand, so you will be able to see Kat Chandler's Hellion.
I am looking forward to that one too.
I don't think you're gonna like it.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think you're gonna like it. You're gonna see it, and it's gonna be another one of those Malick-esque rural movies, which I love, but I think you're getting tired of them.
I don't mind. The part that I don't like about it is the poetic mumblings.
Oh no, that's not in this.
So there you go.
No, but it does get kind of like sentimental towards the end. It gets very Hollywood towards the end. I want to say, but that didn't bring it down for me though. So I still recommend it. Also in limited release, we have All Cheerleaders Die, the Lucky McKee movie, which is another one that's getting really good reviews that I do not understand why.
Huh.
And Lullaby, don't have any interest in that. It's with Garrett Hedlund.
Amy Adams.
And Amy Adams, yeah. I don't know. That comes out on video on demand too. So video on demand releases, we have Witching and Bitching, Hellion, and Lullaby.
I do like the poster for Lullaby. That it's just pictures of the pictures of all the people that are in it, just to be like, hey, look how many people we got in this.
I thought you were being serious because that's why I asked which one, because the one I saw is pretty stupid looking.
It's just pictures of all the people that are in it, just to say like, hey, we got this many people to be in our movie.
Hey, look at us. Look at us.
You should like it.
If you have any other video on demand releases, be sure to submit them to us on the website. The video on demand calendar is growing and it's becoming a success. So
It's grown a bit too much.
I know,
it's not your fault. It's just stop making indie films, people.
There's when you look at June's list,
dude,
it's
just knock it
huge.
off.
And I started getting submissions for July, and so that's starting to grow too. But man, June, woof. Anyway, DVD and Blu-ray. We got Alpha Papa, Alan Partridge, Alpha Papa. I think in the U.S. it's just called Alan Partridge. Devil's Knot, which is the one with Colin Firth about West Memphis 3.
Oh boy,
because we can't get enough of that.
That's right.
the Adam. How do you say his last name? Egoyan or something?
All I know is that his movies bore the shit out of me.
Well, he had something premiere at Cannes, right?
I hate the look of him.
No. Devil's Knot is apparently not good at all. So, yeah, we have...
Yeah, well, his newest, the one that you're talking about is The Captive.
The Captive. Oh, and that one, yeah, that's the one with Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
that got booed to shit at Cannes.
Yeah.
And then we have Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Oh boy.
I was in Sundance when that came out. Funny story about that. My girlfriend went to Sundance this year with me, and she was supposed to go see a movie. I can't remember what movie, but she couldn't get tickets. And she ended up going to see Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Oh, God.
in Utah, in Park City, Utah. It's like, while Sundance is going on, it was funny because I got out of whatever screening I was in. I gave her a call, and I was like, oh, how was your movie? And she's like, oh, it's fine. I saw Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. I was like, wait a minute.
Another in a long line of generic white male-led actioners.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
like that's all I see is just generic white guy action movie.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for the new Pierce Brosnan action movie called The November Band, and I was like, wow, this is pretty. This is like the definition of generic actioner.
Good lord.
I think the new trailer for Liam Neeson's next one came out too.
No, it's just it's like they keep asking every couple months. It's like, you want to see a white guy in an action movie?
Hey,
Boy, do I!
let's make it like those Bourne movies. Let's make it like those Bourne movies because they were really successful. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's make it like Taken.
Make an American version of James Bond, but without any charisma whatsoever.
Just some white knuckle action. We also have Nonstop. Speaking of which, that one was pretty generic. Omar, Tim's Vermeer, as we said, and Visitors.
Visitors. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's what is it? I think it's a doc.
Humanity's trance-like relationship with technology.
Oh, technology doc. Big surprise.
Oh boy.
Any criterions?
Oh, we have two criterions. We have Douglas Sirk's All That Heaven Allows from 1955, which this is like, American classic. Still haven't seen, so just add that list to the movies that Kevin needs to fucking watch. Great. The list is long enough already. And Michelangelo Antonioni film from 1962, Le Clis. So, which I can't remember if I've seen that one or not. It's part of his his trilogy. It's like, I don't even know what the hell the trilogy is about, like Modern Alienation or whatever. I think I did see this. Yes, I did. That's how much of a lasting impact it had on me.
Well, there you have it. I think that will wrap it up. Be sure to send us your questions to podcastfilmpulse.net. We'll be sure to answer them on the show. Follow us on Twitter at FilmPulseNet and at FilmPulseKevin. That's right, Kevin is on Twitter now.
That's a terrible idea.
So make sure to follow him and tweet at him and all that stuff.
I instantly regret like almost every decision I make. Do you have that problem?
Yeah, quite a bit. And be sure to rate us on iTunes. We appreciate that very much. For FilmPulse.net, my name's Adam.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you on Thursday for Ryan Watches a Movie.
Bigfoot is the name. You can ride from Canada to Northern California, all up and down the Cascade Range. But if you go alone, friend, I'm here to warn you. Look out for the thing with a big...
What the?
Håker Bilge Jada.
Nori Biga.
Lord Bilge Jada.
Nori Biga.